Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ryan Retro channel. The holidays are fast approaching, and whether you're celebrating Christmas, another holiday, or even no holidays at all, it's a great time to wind down at the end of the year, share some time with people you love, and maybe give some gifts to those people you love or even to yourself. So I was putting together a video to help guide you guys about some good gift ideas that I thought would be great for people in this hobby. But then I had a better idea. Why don't I reach out to some of my favorite creators in the scene and ask them what their gift ideas are too? So I'll be sharing my gift idea suggestions at the end of the video, but first I would love to share the suggestions of some of the greatest creators in the YouTube scene in our little retro handheld family. In this video you'll see creators I'm sure you're very familiar with, as well as some you may not be as familiar with, so this may be a good opportunity to find some more YouTubers to love in 2026 as well. So that's my little Christmas gift to you. As you're watching this video, if you do really resonate with one of the creators, of course, check out their channels linked in the description below. And if you click any of the affiliate links in the description below, that will directly support the creators who recommended them. So let's see what some of the best retro handheld YouTubers recommend for holiday gifts. We're going to go through everybody alphabetically. It works in my classroom, so it should work fine here. So let's kick things off with Adin Walls.
Hello, my name is Adin. My gifts that I have to show you are all a little bit expensive. These first two aren't though. So these are IEMs. Now these are great for gamers. I think they are a nice thing for gamers, and we're all looking for nice headphones. So IEMs go over your ear, so they hang over your ear. For people like you and me who are gaming, these are a little bit cheaper. In South African rands, they're about 350 rand, so quite cheap. I've been playing Tomb Raider with them, and I can hear all the sound effects and all of the things. So those are nice IEMs for the festive season. The next thing I want to show you is something from Lit NXT. Is these metal keycaps. So I've got the Christmas ones actually on my keyboard here. So those are Christmas themed keycaps. These are the Halloween themed metal keycaps. So if you've got this, little cross mechanism on your keyboard and you're able to replace the keys, these will be compatible. Just check your compatibility before you go ahead with that. And that brings me on to this thing, which 8BitDo sent me for my PC build video, because I built a lovely PC. Haven't got to that video yet, so I wanted to feature this in this video because it is such a lovely keyboard. It also comes with these other huge buttons that I've actually remapped for desktop and for multitasking. And it's Bluetooth and 2.4 gigahertz. It is on the pricey side, but it really is a lovely thing, and it's a nice gift. This is a beautiful thing to give someone under the Christmas tree or somewhere else. So now this is something special, and I didn't check the price when I made my shorts on my YouTube channel about it, and someone said, wow, that price is quite extreme. So they are pricey, but I mean, look at this. It's got that proper traditional Chinese painting on it that's, you got on the crockery in the olden days. Like a little artwork on the space bar. It's really lovely. And so I don't think they would suit my Commodore keyboard, but you've got maybe a clear see-through keyboard with a light in it, or just a white keyboard or a black keyboard. These would really look great. And again, such a nice gift. Let's stay on the slightly cheaper side. These are pricey for what they are. So I think they're about $69 or so, maybe a little bit less. I got the Modretro Chromatic, again, another video I haven't gotten to. They do the Modretro Chromatic and they do carts. So these carts will work in your Game Boy, like a normal Game Boy. I got Toki Tori, very nice little puzzler game. And Self-Simulated, which is an indie game that they have made into a cart. So you can get this on itch.io. But I mean, just look at that. It comes in this little sparkly plastic. So that's cool, but the real main event is the Modretro Chromatic. Now, again, the reason why these are all here is because I think they're wonderful gifts. Look at this beautiful box it comes in. I mean, if that arrives under the Christmas tree, you're gonna be a happy camper. I mean, I'm 45 years old, and if someone gave me that, I would just be over the moon. And then it comes in wonderful colors. This has been in my bedroom a lot, not for naughty reasons, but because my wife loves Tetris. For the retro gamer, this is one of the most ultimate gifts out there. Just think gift. If you want to buy a handheld console as a gift, you know, I've got the Odin 3 there, kind of a boring looking device, beautiful, but you know, if you want something that's going to have that hoo-ha impression, then the AYANEO Pocket DS is the way to go. It comes in this lovely case, opens up, and it's a dual screen Android device that you can do like multitasking. So yeah, very expensive, but there are some other options out here. Sorry, Ryan, if this was long. Have a Merry Christmas.
Adin had some really great suggestions there. Over on his channel, he does cover some audio things as well. So it was really interesting to hear the suggestion of some good earphones to listen to your games. Throughout this video, of course, most people are going to be recommending handhelds because that's really the main thing, the main attraction of our videos. But there will be all kinds of different suggestions here, something I'm sure for everybody to enjoy. So let's now move on to another YouTuber whose videos I really like and I've been following for a super long time, but I find it very hard to pronounce his name. So I'm very sorry if I say your name slightly wrong, but let's go see some retro gaming handheld recommendations from Blogoodf.
Hey guys, Alex Blogoodf here. The holiday season is the perfect time to treat yourself or someone you care about to a portable gaming console. And today I want to share two devices that give me the brightest and warmest emotions. Let's start with the king of budget handhelds, the R36S. It's one of the most affordable and most flexible consoles you can buy. It runs games from Nintendo, Sega, Game Boy Color, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, and even some PSP titles. But keep in mind, the R36S is best for those who actually enjoy tinkering with firmware and settings. It's a console for enthusiasts who love not just playing games, but customizing and fine-tuning the whole system. Recently, the market has been flooded with R36S clones, which can be confusing for beginners. If you want the most reliable version, go for the R36XX. It's basically the same console as the R36S, but with built-in Wi-Fi. Aside from that, they're identical, just a small tip to help you avoid any unpleasant surprises. And of course, my favorite retro handheld the past few months, the TrimUI Brick. It's compact, comfortable, and has an amazing screen. And the metal version, the Brick Hammer, gives you a crazy good feeling every time you pick it up. It's a fantastic premium quality handheld. In the end, it's pretty simple. If you're on a budget or want an inexpensive way to get into retro gaming, the R36S or R36XX are great picks. But if you want something small, beautiful, premium, and genuinely enjoyable to use, the TrimUI Brick or Brick Hammer will give you way more emotion than you'd expect from such a tiny console. Wishing all of you a great holiday season, pleasant nostalgia, and successful completion of your favorite games.
I really like those suggestions. I've always been curious about the R36S. It's developing its own little cult following because it's really good for its cheap price. And regular watchers of my channel will know I absolutely adore the TrimUI Brick. Now let's hear from Monto Tech, a YouTuber who has a criminally low subscriber count compared to what his content deserves. Every time I watch his videos, I assume he has like 100,000 minimum. And for this video today, I gave everybody a couple of weeks to send me videos. I didn't really want to push anyone too much. But Monto sent this video to me in like one day. This guy is a video creation beast.
Hey everyone, I'm Monto Tech, and this holiday season I shrunk two things: my hands and my Christmas tree. Now my tiny little tree can only fit 5 gifts under it, which means I probably can't shove all my clamshell handhelds in there. So I picked one gift per price range, starting from $50 to $250 US. And I only picked stuff that's currently in stock and shipping before the holidays. Anything that's shipping after January is instantly disqualified. I can't include my beloved AYN Thor or the upcoming Retroid Pocket 6. So with that said, here's my holiday gift list. First is the Anbernic RG Nano. This is the perfect stocking stuffer under $50. It might not be the most practical since it's under 3 inches tall, but it has so much charm and it's guaranteed to make your loved one smile. Next up is the Anbernic RG34XX SP. It's a Game Boy Advance SP clone with analog sticks at the bottom. This is perfect for fans of Game Boy Advance games like Zelda Minish Cap, Golden Sun, Advance Wars, and of course, Pokemon games. Now it's not the most powerful handheld, but it's portable and pocketable. And I also gave mine to my brother as a gift already, so I can personally vouch that this is a nice one to gift. Next up for under $150 would be the Mangmi Air X. It's an excellent way to play PSP games Nintendo 64, and Dreamcast as well. It's really comfortable with great controls too, but it's still in that budget range, so don't expect too much GameCube or PlayStation 2 performance. Fourth on the list for under $200 would be the AverMedia Extra Go Capture Dock with a 1TB microSD card. Now, if you have a keen eye, you know that this is not a handheld, but it's great for capturing footage from one. So if your loved one has a Steam Deck, a Nintendo Switch, or of course a retro handheld, then they can plug it into this dock and with the press of a button, be able to capture any gameplay footage from it. This dock is perfect for any content creators or people who just like recording their gameplay. And finally, in the top budget tier, I would gift the Retroid Pocket G2. It's basically a Retroid Pocket 5 Plus. This handheld has the perfect amount of power to run GameCube and PlayStation 2 at 1080p, mess around with some Switch and GameHub games, and of course play all your retro titles no problem. This is a handheld I'd recommend gifting to someone who's a bit more into tinkering and learning about retro handhelds. Now, if this is a gift for yourself, I'd recommend looking at the Retroid Pocket 6 instead. It's significantly more powerful and better in almost every way, except it's coming after the holidays. Until then, the G2 is an excellent option and perfect for anyone who's interested in playing some retro games. So those are my 5 gifts for the holiday season. And in retrospect, I don't think they're gonna fit under my tree.
Some excellent recommendations there from Monto, and I'm so sorry to hear about your tiny hands. Next up, I have a treat for you if you love narratives and storytelling. One of the best storytellers in this scene, Mr. Steven.
Hello, Ryan, and hello, everybody. Now, I've got a special reading for you because it's Christmas, and I'm actually a trained actor, and usually that means an actor who's got all of the gold stars at McDonald's. But tonight, I'm going to put all of that training to good use and read you something that's actually very, very special. It's a Christmas poem that has just been uncovered by the scholars at Oxford. So if you're sitting comfortably, then we'll begin. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a PC was stirring, not keyboard, not mouse. The Retroids were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that new firmware updates would be there. When out of the web there came such a clatter, I sprang out of bed to see what was the matter. Another new model, the 5th one this week, at just $50, my wallet grew weak. More rapid than Sonic the parcels they came, with seasonal discounts, the prices insane. My wife found the pile and her fury was great. You've 17 handhelds, she said, in this crate. But darling, I pleaded, these run PS2. She pointed upstairs, where my stack reached the roof, and I heard her exclaim as she stormed out of sight, "You're sleeping down here with your GameCube tonight." And that, of course, is from Ode to a Long-Suffering Wife by J.G. Chesterfield. And you know, it's difficult to find a gift for that discerning handheld collector, because if they're that discerning, the chances are that they've already bought something themselves, and in various different colours, and with 2 spare SD cards. And your Auntie Margaret, well, she wouldn't like a 35X XSP, because Auntie Margaret still thinks that Nintendo DS is witchcraft. And if you bring her a device that can emulate 30 different systems, she'll exercise you with holy water and a rolled up copy of the Daily Mail. But there are 2 devices that I think would be excellent gifts for people who like this hobby. And the first one is something that I actually got a couple of months ago. I got one for my birthday, and I've been using it almost consistently ever since. It's the 8-bit Do, don't know how you pronounce that, but it's the 8-bit Do Pro 3. And this has become my go-to controller. And that's because, well, it works. It just works with everything, with Switch, PC, Android. And it's got the magnetic face buttons on this, which you can rearrange however you want. It's perfect for somebody with multiple devices and multiple buttons. And then there's the charging dock as well. And this, to me, is one of the major benefits of this device. Because what I don't like is when you have a controller and you've got to keep unplugging it and plugging it back in every single time you want to use it. With the charging dock, you just drop it in and it charges. There's no cables, there's no fumbling around at midnight when you just want a quick pick-up game of something. And then finally, of course, you've got the fantastic sticks. These are TMR sticks. They feel premium. They're basically like the next step up from Hall Effect sticks. They're very precise and they are really lovely to play with. I love this thing. And a lot of these handhelds can now be docked to your TV for a sort of console-like experience. So, some people won't have tried that. So this is one peripheral which your loved one might not have, but actually they might really enjoy. And secondly, and I won't take up much more of your time, I promise, but secondly is the TrimUI brick hammer. And this is a fantastic little device, and it's like the original TrimUI brick, but it's got this metal body. And the metal body actually adds an awful lot of value to this. It feels really expensive, but it's still affordable. It's, I think, the perfect package for a gift. It's more rigid than the original brick, and I felt like the gaming on it was a much more nicer experience. Game-wise, you can play everything up to PS1 without breaking a sweat, and you can play certain N64, PSP, and Dreamcast titles as well. The performance is actually pretty solid, which is why a lot of people love this device, They like it just for that. And you've also got this choice of custom firmware that you can use with it, so part of your gift could be setting up the device with your specially selected ROM collection just for your loved one. But this is the version that you want. This is the one that you want to show people and brag about. This is the one that's collectible, that's something special, the perfect device for the loved one who is into gaming and doesn't really know what else to get. Anyway, those are my recommendations, and I hope that whatever Santa brings you this year, you get the gaming gadgets that you've been wishing for. Merry Christmas, everybody.
I always love listening to Mr. Steven. He puts together such fantastic scripts and speaks them so eloquently. Pretty much the exact opposite of me, who doesn't script anything. The controller recommendation is really nice. I think it's something a lot of people overlook, and in this scene, while a lot of us buy the best handhelds we want for ourselves, I think the controller is something a lot of people skimp on. I know I've collected a lot of cheap controllers in the past that aren't particularly good, so if somebody did buy me a super nice controller, I would really appreciate that as a gift. And once again, we have another mention for the brick. That is the second brick mention in 3 videos. Next up, we have Rob, the Retro Tech Dad. I always really enjoy his deep dive videos, and let's see what he recommends as a gift for Christmas.
Hey, it's Rob, the Retro Tech Dad. I heard that Ryan Retro was needing some help getting some cool gift ideas together for his friends and family, and, well, since it's not 1990, can't really recommend the Game Gear, and since we kind of know what happened with that, and there was another handheld around that time that sort of was a beast that could not be topped. And it just so happens that in the year 2025, well, the folks over at LEGO decided to come out with this really cool set that actually celebrates much of what makes the Game Boy really great, including these awesome cartridges, gameplay screen. Like, this is just a really neat set that's actually priced pretty fairly, considering it is a licensed set from LEGO. And I think it's just a fun gift that for someone who maybe either grew up with Game Boy or maybe has never been introduced to a game, this would be a really cool way to actually get them introduced to it and kind of get them maybe curious about what makes it unique. And so, cheers to Ryan for putting this together, and happy holidays from sunny Arizona.
I can't tell if I want the LEGO Game Boy more or that drink. Both looked fantastic. I have had my eye on that LEGO Game Boy for a while. There have been people online who have even modified it to turn it into a real functioning Game Boy. I think that's something I have to do for the channel in 2026. Next up, we have a YouTuber I'm sure you're very familiar with. It's Russ from Retro Game Core.
Hey everybody, this is Russ from Retro Game Core. Fancy seeing you here on Ryan's channel. Now, he asked me to come up with some gift ideas for somebody like within our community. Now, for someone like me who's got like a ton of different handhelds, it's really hard to get me a gift. I kind of have everything that I would want. So I had to think like, what would I actually want for someone to give me or to give to somebody who already has a bunch of retro handhelds? So I got 2 major ideas. One very practical idea I had was a battery bank, because, if you've got a device that runs on a battery, you're going to need to charge it at some point too. Now, there are a ton of different battery banks out there, some that are huge, like 25,000 milliamp hours. These are smaller. These are both 10,000 milliamp hours, which means that they're going to, give you at least 1 to 2 charge cycles depending on your handheld. Now, these banks that I recommend have wireless chargers connected to them, which I think is really practical if you have a phone that has this capability as well, because it's going to be able to charge it wirelessly, super handy. But then, of course, you can use it for your handheld too. This one from Ugreen is usually around $90 retail, but I've seen it go as low as $60 during Black Friday, so definitely look out for a deal. And what I like about this one is it has a little lanyard here so you can hold it, but it's also a cable at the same time, and so you don't have to have a second cable around. You can just charge your device directly on it. I also like that it has a window that will show you the remaining charging left on the battery too, so you know exactly how much more time you have. My only complaint is that it's rather thick and then it extends beyond my phone. I have just a regular iPhone here, not like a Max or anything, but you can see that, yes, it is quite a bit bigger. And that's where this one comes into play, because this one is my favorite among the two. This one is called the Energy Pack from Genki, and it's got the wireless charger on it too, but it's a lot smaller. And so you can see it's a lot more slim, and then it also just goes perfectly with my iPhone here. So I like this one a lot more. It's around $80, so it's about $10 cheaper than the other one, and it's the same capacity, so 10,000 milliamp hours. So I really like this one. This one's also cool too because it's got a little window that will tell you how much battery is left, but it also will tell you the current of the charge as well, so you can see how fast it's charging too. This one will charge up to 15 watts wirelessly and then go up to 30 watts with the wired connection. The only downside here is that you do have to bring your own cable. It doesn't have one of those built-in ones. The cable that comes with it is pretty small and nice and flexible, and so it's a pretty easy setup. There is only one charging port, so you can only charge up to 2 things at a time, both wirelessly and wired. But that's about it. So you can just kind of plug it in here and then have this connected to your device, and it'll charge just about anything. And so you can see here is charging my AYANEO Thor at about 26 watts. So I think it comes down to your use case. If you want something with a built-in cable, this is really handy, but I also just like the thinness and the flexibility of the Genki one as well. And I think the fact that I can see how quickly it charges is also very handy. Now, beyond just physical stuff, the other thing that popped in my head when Ryan brought up gift ideas is Audible, which is like not like a big flashy thing or new in any way. It's been around forever. This is Amazon's version of like the audiobook service, and it's a $15 a month subscription, and they'll give you 1 credit per month, which you can use for an audiobook, which is actually a pretty good deal. Most audiobooks will be like $40 up to like $60 for new releases, whereas with their service, it's $15 a month. My family just recently moved from one part of the island to another, and so now my commute, which used to be about 8 minutes, is now like up to 40 minutes each way with traffic. And so it's been pretty taxing for me. And the first thing I thought of was maybe trying an audiobook, and it has worked out really well. It makes my commute so much easier. And so if you know somebody who has like a similarly long commute, this might be a really great way to just kind of chip away at the time. Right now, I'm listening through the Book of Dust trilogy, which is a prequel/sequel to the His Dark Materials trilogy, which is what The Golden Compass is based off of, if you ever saw that movie. And so I really love those 3 original books, and I had read the first 2 books from Book of Dust, but the third one just came out. And so I bought all 3 and then put them on my Audible, and they're longer. You know, they're like 10 to 20 hours each, which can really eat away at that commute time. Anyway, those are my holiday ideas. Maybe a battery bank for somebody who's got a retro handheld, and then audiobooks for somebody who has a longer commute. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Ryan for having me on.
I really like these accessories recommendations because it's something that somebody is less likely to buy for themselves, something they may not have already. You don't want to buy somebody a Trim UI brick only to find out they actually already have 5. Thanks. Although I don't know who would do that. So I really do like those suggestions. Audible is something I've never personally used, but I am always trying to find something to listen to during my commute to work, so maybe I should give that a go. Next up we have Stubbs from Retro Handhelds, another YouTuber I'm sure you're all well aware of, a man whose voice I wish could narrate the rest of my life. So let's see what devices he recommends as gifts for this holiday season.
Hey Ryan, Stubbs here. So love the idea. So here's a couple thoughts for your audience. If you're looking for an awesome gift for the holidays, for that special somebody, for a friend, for a family member, for your exterminator. Like I happen to give mine a brick hammer. And I've been donating these too. Like if someone asks for a good gift idea and I happen to get extras, like I just love to give the brick, either the metal version, the hammer here, or the plastic, but it's just easy to take with you on the go, place in your pocket, play a few games, you get retro achievements, you get Wi-Fi, you get all that good stuff. And it's just choice. It just feels great in the hands. And that's really for any age range. I love that you can one-hand it as well. If you got smaller hands and younger eyeballs, I think the Miu Mini Flip would be an excellent choice for a younger kiddo. I mean, even adult as well, but I mean, clamshell, come on, play your games, pop it in, throw it in your pocket. You got a retro stew going. As you're moving on up, look at the Retroids. Obviously, the Retroid Pocket Classic, great vertical. The Retroid G2 recently, great. But if you really want to make someone's Christmas and you want to go completely nuts, the AYANEO Thor, I mean, come on. It's the most functional retro handheld with Android on it to date, in my opinion. Another budget option, Mangmi Air X, can't go wrong there. Great ergonomics. And then if you want a recommendation for a Windows or PC handheld, if you really want to step it up, besides the just get a Steam Deck Bro, I think you really can't go wrong Honestly, with the Lenovo Legion Go S, the SteamOS variant, super easy. Play your games, just one and done. There you go. And if you want to talk about a gift for myself, which is very kind and sweet of you to think about, please give me the gift of time. More time to play games, more time to play with these handhelds, more time to just enjoy the community aspect of these handhelds, which I absolutely adore. And I feel like there's never enough time in the day to do all the things you want, right? I want to be able to go and play RPGs. And yeah, we all got kids, jobs, lives. So how do we fit more time? How do we get an 8th day in the week? That's what I want. That's what I want for Christmas. That's what I want for the holidays. An extra day. Could you imagine? Yeah, that's real nice. Well, those are my thoughts. Can't wait to watch this video, and happy holidays, my friend. Stubbs out.
Without making any euphemisms, I did not expect that to get so deep at the end there. That is a 3rd mention now for the TrimUI Brick or Brick Hammer. And when you start to see the same products get recommended from all of these different YouTubers, you can be quite confident it's a good product. That little Miu mini flip also looks adorable. I really want to try one myself. And it's at this point that this video is kind of backfiring on me, because my expectation was that I already owned every handheld I would see in this video, and it would just be helpful for you as the viewers to find something good to buy for yourself or your loved ones. But instead, as I'm editing this video right now, I just want to buy myself loads of things, and I can already hear my wallet crying. It should be noted that the AYANEO Thor is currently not available before the holiday season, so you will need to wait until probably around mid-January for that one. But if you're comfortable with waiting, it's probably the handheld of the year, at least according to most of the people who have tried and reviewed it, so it could be worth waiting for. This is also the first time we've had a recommendation for a more expensive Windows handheld, and of all the Windows handhelds I've tried, that one is the one that I want, the Legion Go S. It feels so comfortable. But I don't have the money for one right now, so I constantly go back to the store that has one on display and just try it all the time. Like back when I was a kid trying out GameCubes and Dreamcasts in game stores. Next up we have TechDweeb, and if you know anything about TechDweeb, you can be pretty confident his video is going to go a little bit differently to everybody else's.
Alright Ryan, listen up. You want the best gifts for gamers, and I'm going to tell you the real answer. And I hate to break it to you, but no retro gamer needs you to buy them a console or a game or whatever. Retro gamers are really good at buying themselves all the tools of their craft whenever they want them. So when a new doodad comes along, they just buy it in a moment of weakness while scrolling their phone at 3 a.m. So the best thing to get someone in this hobby isn't the kind of thing they would buy themselves. You should get them something they don't even know they want, but something that they would love if they had it. And my top pick for this is some sort of toy, or even a stuffy. It doesn't have to be something big and expensive, but there's a million choices for toys and stuffies for every franchise and character out there. If your special someone loves Hollow Knight Silksong, get them a little Hornet toy to put on their desk at work. If they love Phantump, then get them an adorable Phantump stuffy to snuggle with or put on display on a shelf instead of boring photos of their family. The best part is, you don't even need to think about what to get. Just ask your bro or girl bro what their favorite games are right now and go get some toys from those games. You can jump on Amazon or eBay or even AliExpress if you want to do it on the cheap. But some little physical version of their favorite game friend will 100% guaranteed brighten their day. And if it doesn't, if they don't like it, then you could just take it back and say, well fine then Jessica, I'll keep it. Merry frickin' Christmas, and leave in a snit and complain about it on the internet when Ryan Retro asks you to film a video about the best gifts for Christmas. Hypothetically, of course.
I think TechDweeb again raises the good point that somebody who's really into this hobby like we are probably already has all the handhelds they want already. So buying something like a little toy, a little figurine, some kind of accessory could be really useful because it's more likely they don't have it, and if you get that confirmation from them that they like the game, then they're surely going to like the gift. Next up we have Zoo, who's going to recommend you a handheld to buy this holiday season.
Oh, I didn't see you walk over. I'm just taking a break from my outdoor chores in the Great White North to play the R36T, and it's kind of ironic because the R36T is what I would consider to be one of the ultimate cozy Christmas gifts, especially for nerds, especially for anyone who's in their 30s to their 40s. Not necessarily this particular R36T, because they charge you a little bit extra for this wood grain, but any of the R36 line. You can get them for anywhere from $25 to $40. And for people that are in the scene, it's almost literal garbage. It's e-waste. We call it e-waste. For someone that's never had anything like this, you give it to them, you know, you do a white elephant thing at work, or amongst your friends, 25 bucks, hand this to someone, it's their entire childhood in one compact package. And I think that's kind of cool. I think that if you give someone something like this, and I've given a lot of my friends, my non-nerd friends, some of my excess stuff like this, without fail, every one of them is like, holy crap, this is amazing. And for me, you know, it's an old amber neck that I got 6 of. For my buddy Dave, or my buddy Mr. Mike next door, he's out there with the dog right now. It's amazing to them. It's their entire childhood. I think that's pretty cool. So, speaking of cool, it's cold outside. I better stop playing video games and get back to work. And I'll let you get back to your video.
I've had the R36T in my shopping basket on AliExpress for months at this point. Ever since the first version dropped in a black color, I thought it looked gorgeous, but I heard a wood grain version was on the way, so I've been waiting for this one. Now that the wood grain version released, I can't decide whether I want the wood grain or the black, but this is a handheld I'm very likely to buy within the next couple of months. It basically tries to look like a CRT TV, and I think it's just really charming. And it's also very cheap, so that combination of being affordable and really charming make it a great gift, so I really do side with Zoo on this one. Also, that big cheesy grin at the end just cracked me up. I don't know why, it just made me feel happy. So those were recommendations from 9 of my favorite YouTubers in this handheld scene. But like the Elite 4, we are the Elite 10. And who is the final in the list? Me! Is it because I'm the best? No, it's because I'm making the video, and if I wasn't at the end, it would be weird. Before I decided to invite everyone into this video, I was going to make it by myself, so I already made a list of all the things I wanted to recommend to you guys, and you will see some of them have already been recommended by other creators. If you see the same recommendations coming up again and again, I think that's a really great testament to how good a product is. So I'm going to grab the camera and take it over to my desk where I'll show you what I recommend for this holiday season. So what products would I recommend for good holiday gifts in 2025, whether it's for a loved one or for yourself? Well, first of all, let me talk to you about some handhelds, and we'll go through a few different price brackets from cheap to more expensive. So let's begin with under $50 first of all, and I would recommend the XuRetro XU20 V32. This is a handheld I've been meaning to make a video about for a really long time, and I haven't yet gotten around to it, but it's a less than $50 handheld that runs Android, has a touch screen, and is able to play pretty much anything you'd expect from a cheap handheld with this form factor. So your Game Boy games, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Game Gear, NES, SNES, all of those old retro games are perfectly playable on here. You've got a nice big D-pad and pretty big buttons as well. The shoulder buttons on the back are nicely contoured so your fingers fit in them very comfortably. There's just not really anything bad about this device. The only negative I could really say is it's quite boring. It just does what it's meant to do so well, but without any extra frills or anything else, that it's been quite hard for me to make a dedicated video about. If we jump into a Game Boy Advance game as a quick example here, and here I am back at the beginning of Pokemon Ruby for the 10,000th time in my life. Everything just works well on here. The fact that it runs Android instead of Linux like most of these cheap little devices do, give you some good benefits. For example, you of course have that touchscreen we mentioned before. We are able to install Android file managers if you don't like the one that comes with the device. And there are Android file managers with great features like wireless file transfer, so it becomes really easy to get files onto this device as well. There are 2 SD card slots, so you can use one for the included operating system and then a second one with your ROMs on. And they have really thought things through here. So in some games where you need to use an analog stick instead of a D-pad, I don't have one installed right now, just pretend this is the case. We can change the behavior of the D-pad to act like an analog stick just by pressing this special button down here. By holding it for about a second, it will light up, and that will let you know that it's now in analog stick mode. And those games that need an analog stick will recognize the D-pad as an analog stick. And when you want to go back to a D-pad game, you just hold that button for a second again until the light goes off, and now you're back in D-pad mode. It's so well thought out, it's so easy to use. It's just a fantastic little device for less than $50. And this would easily be my recommendation for under $50 unless you can find a sale for the TrimUI Brick. A handheld you're probably getting sick of hearing about in this video now. But this is a handheld that usually goes for around somewhere between $60 to $80, but can be found on sale for as low as $40 on occasion. If you're familiar with me and my channel, you'll know I adore this handheld. I love this handheld so much that I've currently got 5 of them in my home right now. These are regular TrimUI bricks with their plastic build, and these are brick hammers with an upgraded metal shell. This is the handheld I would say is the best one to get under $100. It's everything that I and seemingly every YouTuber love about the TrimUI brick, but with a hard metal shell that just feels like it could withstand anything. It's perfect for slipping into a pocket and taking with you wherever you go. And it's the handheld that I've played by far the most over the past year. Whenever I go somewhere on a trip, this one's always coming with me in my pocket. And this is the first Christmas gift that I've purchased this year, which inspired this whole video. So I'm happy to see that so many other YouTubers agree with me that the TrimUI brick is a fantastic present. And when it comes to that sub $100 category, along with the TrimUI brick, I'd also like to recommend the Mangmi Air X. If you're looking for a horizontal handheld, if you're looking to play games with analog sticks and triggers, this one is incredibly good for the price. Once again, like the XuRetro, is an Android device with a nice touch screen, but the overall build quality of this is just ludicrous for how cheap it is. It's mostly made for PSP games, and it plays them really nicely. If you know somebody who really liked the PSP, they're going to really enjoy this. It's a fantastic handheld that really belies its low price. If you have a little bit more money to spend, the Retroid Pocket Classic is one of the best gifts you can give a gamer. It looks beautiful, and it comes in so many different colors and styles that all look really charming and lovely. It's a nice big Game Boy size that's comfortable, it has great battery life, the screen is a beautiful OLED, it runs Android, so once again you get a nice touchscreen and you can install Android games like the Android port of Stardew Valley that has the full pinch to zoom touchscreen support and various other features. You can install other Android ports like Balatro and GTA games. You could put a launcher on it like Daiji Show, which I think really suits this handheld. And it even has the power to play more demanding games like Dreamcast and even beyond, although the lack of analog sticks sometimes makes that quite tricky. I made a video on this channel before showing some light Switch games, and some of them are playable on here. Now, it's a very small percentage and they're not really going to run very well, but for the price of this, and the fact that it basically looks like a modern Game Boy Color, the amount of power crammed inside this is very impressive. This is a great recommendation in that $100 to $150 price category. Next, we're going to jump up to the around $200-ish category, between $200 and $250, and this is the Retroid Pocket G2, an absolutely beautiful device. Basically the Retroid Pocket 5 Pro, the device that I've covered the most on this channel throughout the past year, and this is quite similar to the aforementioned Mangmi Air X, but it's a little bit smaller, it has a better screen, and a lot more power. This is around $90, this is around $220, but this can play pretty much any system. The Mangmi is good for your retro games, anything up to PSP, some streaming perhaps, but it can't really play anything too crazy. The Retroid Pocket G2, on the other hand, can play pretty much anything you'd want to. It might fall a little bit short in extreme PC gaming or something like that, but for the most part, for most people, you can play pretty much anything on this. It's a really impressive handheld. Now, when we talk about the Retroid Pocket G2, we always need to mention the Retroid Pocket 6 is coming soon, which will be even better than this for a similar price. So if you can wait until January, I would recommend pre-ordering the Retroid Pocket 6 instead. But if you do want to buy a gift for somebody to open on Christmas, to get before the holidays, the Retroid Pocket G2 is a fantastic handheld. And while the Retroid Pocket 6 might be better in the long run, it doesn't stop this from being a great handheld. But then what if you want to buy something even better? What if somebody's been a really good boy or good girl this year and you really want to treat them with the best? Then I would recommend the obvious choice, the Steam Deck. Now, we always hear in this community all the time, just get a Steam Deck, bro, and it's kind of become a meme at this point. But there's a reason why everyone says it, because it is probably just the best. You can buy something even more powerful than this, like a Legion Go, but they're usually much more expensive, and the user experience isn't as easy as this. This is by far the most easy and simplistic, full-blown computer handheld you can get. You just take it out of the box, sign into Steam with a QR code, and you can just start playing your games right away. And if you're like me, you might become addicted to a game and play it for far too long. On a lot of these handhelds, we often have debates about whether it's better to have the D-pad at the top or the analog stick at the top, and people are always arguing about what they prefer and what they think is better. The Steam Deck just put them in line with each other, so you get the best of everything all at once. Whether you like to use the D-pad or the analog stick, they're all comfortable, thanks to these nice big grips on the back. We have big trackpads that are surprisingly useful. When you want to use this as a computer, you can easily use the right one as a mouse and the left one as a scroll wheel. It's super easy to navigate just like you're using a computer, but in the palms of your hands. I've even dual booted Windows on mine to play Windows exclusive games like League of Legends and Valorant. The Steam Deck is pretty readily available second-hand, so you can get incredible deals on it. And I think what truly elevates it above the other Windows-based handhelds is that the community for this is incredible. There are so many large communities dedicated to this device that just truly love it. They're some of the friendliest communities I've ever visited, and because there are so many people having and loving the Steam Deck, there are endless YouTube video guides about how to do pretty much anything you could imagine. If you want to install loads of retro games, there are ready-made packages like EmuDeck that just guide you through it simply. If you run into any problems with the Steam Deck, a quick Google search will show tons of results, because so many people have the exact same one. I really think the Steam Deck is a special device, and it's one of the best gifts to give somebody whether they know a lot about this scene or not. And if I could break all of these recommendations I've made to only a couple of devices, I would recommend the Steam Deck or the TrimUI Brick. These to me are the best two devices to buy somebody, because they don't really require too much knowledge to just pick up and get running, but if you do want to dive deeper and tinker with them, you absolutely can. You can dual boot operating systems on this and go wild with emulation. You can try all different custom firmwares on this. There is loads to deep dive and tinker into if you want, but if you're buying it for somebody who doesn't want to do that, they can just get running and playing games super easily. So I would highly recommend these two devices depending on how much money you want to spend and what kind of gamer you think you're buying for. And let's just quickly cover a couple of accessories that have really helped me out this year as well, in case you are looking for something a little bit different to handhelds. The first one I want to recommend is this Anker power bank that I've included in my videos quite a lot recently, because it shows charging information. So when I plug a device into it, it will show you the charging wattage on the screen, which is really nice and useful for me making my videos. And I also just find this useful to make sure something is charging at the proper speed. Sometimes when I'm charging things, I have this feeling that it's charging too slowly, and being able to check the wattage here and seeing everything is fine just puts my mind at ease. We also have other screens we can page through, like the charging percentage remaining in the battery temperature, the battery health, and how many full cycles we've run through the battery. There is this cable which turns into a lanyard, and there is a second retractable cable at the top, which is the one I use the most because it's fairly long. And when you finish with using that one, you just give it a little pull and it goes back inside. Then it has a little magnet at the top, so it nice and easily sits down flush like this. I'm definitely going to be taking this with me when I travel home soon. This has been by far my most used accessory recently. Anker is probably the most reputable and popular portable battery brand, so I highly recommend their products. If you'd like to save a bit of money, there's another good brand called Ugreen who make basically the same products for a little bit cheaper, so I will share an alternative in the description for those as well. And on the topic of that brand Ugreen, that brings me to my second accessory. This is the Ugreen 9-in-1 USB-C docking station. I use this every single day, just like that portable battery. This one is made with the Steam Deck in mind, but it can be used for pretty much anything. So essentially it's just a USB hub. You connect your device to this, whether it's your handheld or a laptop or anything else, and then it gives you loads of ports like 4K 60 HDMI, gigabit Ethernet, pass-through charging, so if you're using a device that only has one USB-C port, like for example, let's take the XuRetro Pocket D2 here, if I were to plug this in and then start connecting accessories, I'm now not charging the device. So I can then plug a charger into here and it will supply the power through to my XuRetro Pocket D2, as well as all of these other peripherals. We have some super fast USB ports here, a USB-A and a USB-C, and then we have some slow ones on the side made for keyboards and mice, but you can really plug anything into these, they just won't transfer data super quickly. We also have an SD card slot and a micro SD card slot, which I'm actually using right now because I use this pretty much 24/7. So overall, it's basically just a normal USB hub, but it also turns into a nice little stand. It is made with the Steam Deck in mind, so the Steam Deck perfectly fits into the dock like this, And you can then use the supplied USB-C cable to plug into the top of the deck and into the dock itself, and then connect all of your accessories and connect this up to the TV or whatever else you want to do with it. So if you wanted to convert your handheld like a Steam Deck into a home console on the big TV, this is the perfect way to do it. You can use this with any device. The only issue is the Steam Deck has its USB-C port on the top, and most handhelds have their USB ports on the bottom, so you would need to put them in upside down like this. So it doesn't look particularly great, but it does work. You could of course just connect it like this and put it like that or something. Anyway, this is a fantastic dock, highly recommended if you're looking for a way to get more connectivity to your devices, and the price is also not bad. If you're buying a gift for somebody who likes to play games on their phone, I would highly recommend getting them a telescopic controller they can connect to the sides to play more comfortably. You can buy a cheap one like this. This one is from Joytron, but they're sold with all kinds of different brand names on places like AliExpress. And while this one works pretty well and it also looks pretty nice, I would actually recommend getting a slightly better one if it's for a holiday gift, because it's not the most comfortable, and while I prefer it to playing with just touchscreen controls, it does feel a little bit cheap. So I would instead highly recommend the GameSir G8 Plus Galileo. I actually got a really great deal on this. I only paid around $35 to $40, so you can get deals on these popping up every now and again, but I would happily pay far more for this. This has the best sticks I think I've ever felt on anything. They feel just like Xbox sticks. They are far superior to any handheld I've ever tried. They're so big and comfortable, so are the triggers, so are the buttons. This is a truly high quality premium controller. For a phone gamer, something like this can truly change the way they play. For me, this has been the first time I've really enjoyed gaming on my phone. Stupid game. And my last gift, probably more of a personal gift than giving to somebody else, because this is pretty much the socks of retro gaming gifts, an SD card. Get yourself a nice, big, high-capacity SD card so you can play even more games. Or I should probably rephrase that, so you can store even more games. I always use SanDisk Extreme cards. They've served me very well for years. I highly recommend them. And these days, now that we have Windows and Switch gaming working pretty well on a lot of devices, I'm trying to get 1 terabyte cards in most of my handhelds. So I highly recommend checking out a nice, big, high capacity micro SD card. So those are my recommendations, and you now have recommendations from 10 YouTubers. Between us, we have reviewed an obscene amount of devices, so I think you can take our collective thoughts as a pretty good starting point for your holiday shopping. Now, I know we are getting quite close to the holidays. I have been trying to get this video out a little bit earlier, but lots of roadblocks kept coming up. I am trying to put this out as quickly as possible. I would like to just quickly apologize that it's not out a little bit earlier. I would love to do this video again next year, and next year I'll try to get it out a bit earlier, so you have more time to do your shopping. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also check out the description below for all of the creators involved in this video and all of their affiliate links. The holiday time is the time for sharing after all, and I hope each and every one of you watching this video has a wonderful holiday period. Whether you're celebrating Christmas like me, any other holiday, or no holidays whatsoever, I just hope you have a fantastic end to your year with your family, with your loved ones. I hope you're all happy and healthy and get all the gifts you dream of. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Happy holidays.